Good Thursday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the internal combustion engine age YouTube channel that talks about the cars and trucks, SUVs, the dogs. Hey, good morning, everybody. It's tuned into my channel. Thanks for watching my video this morning, and good morning there. Hope you're having a good day. What a beautiful day here in the Northern Virginia, Maryland area, outside of DC. I mean, it's actually warmed up, a little humidor out here, and it's that time of the year where everything's gone green and the grass is growing and the trees have blossomed and all that good stuff. And what do we have going on here today? Anybody here have any ideas of conversations today? And yeah, my conversation today is, I thought we'd talk about mistakes. I think to myself so many times, I buy all these vehicles, and I think sometimes, wow, that vehicle was just a really big mistake. And that's just the nature of me being the car addict, as the birds just destroy my barn. What are the birds good for besides eating insects and pooping all over my cars? Yeah, so look at that back there. EV age, right? One EV age. There's a Mustang Mach-E. Now that's a mistake. That's a mistake purchase on my behalf. I mean, who likes to admit they've made a mistake? Come on, puppies. Come on, Will. Come on, get in. I mean, who likes to admit that? Well, I tell you what, I worked out in my shop here last night until close to 9 o'clock. Oh, yeah. Do I feel that kind of day? And I got a busy day today. Taking care of business. Let me get my, come on, Will. It's just never ending. The dogs. And so, oh, hello. So yeah, it's time to get up here in the office, do our conversations. And I just thought this morning a good conversation would be called mistakes. Hey, Willow. Why does that dog do that? Willow is, I mean, if anybody's watching my video, every day, Willow is the last one here. Borderline. I'm just going to leave him locked up in the house. I mean, borderline. Willow! I mean, do you hear me yell at this dog every morning? It's ridiculous. And if I turn off the video, you got to do more. Get in here. What are you doing? Get in the barn. Jesus Christ. They were out earlier. It sounded like these dogs are being locked up all day long. Oh, yeah. So anyways, let's get the morning routine. This is incredible. I have 4 brand new tires and wheels off that Ford F-150 race truck. I can't get rid of the damn things. I've advertised those things for $600, now $500, and I had one guy getting ready to maybe buy them, and then he pulled out the deal. I mean, yeah, unbelievable. Those are factory Ford brand new rims, and I guarantee there's somebody out there that had a car crash that needs some brand new rims, and sure something you pay $1,000 for each wheel. Don't think I need the, what's going on, bud? He's in my office here. Heat on this morning is actually pretty decent. And I'll probably end up taking off my jacket eventually. All right, what's going on? Who knows? A lot of times we have these windows here open in this office. The birds fly in. The birds. Have I gone to the birds? Yeah, so anyways, this morning I thought, let's talk about the mistakes. And that's the thing. Who here wants to admit that you've made a mistake? Isn't that a huge problem? Where you get major arguments with people because they made a mistake and they don't want to acknowledge it. And they'll argue with you till you turn blue in your face. And they're blue in their face. Or you don't want to admit that you made a mistake. And I think it's a huge problem, and it's nothing new in mankind, the way mankind operates. But so for me, the Ford Mustang Mach-E, it's the ongoing electric vehicle conversations, which, yes, I have a channel called Ice Age. I hear anybody watching my channel going, you should call this channel EV Age. Right. I don't disagree in some ways, but at the same time, the reality is the EV age is upon us to create the ice age like the dinosaurs that took them away, just like the cars that we have. As time progresses, the EV age will take the ice age. So they can have tomorrow, so I'm not that radical a person. But here's the thing. For me, the Ford Mustang Mach-E, here, that car was $72,000, $5,000 ADM, and that was $77,000. It's $78,000 car. So basically, with sales tax, you're at over $80,000. And the dealer adds on their, blah, blah fee and blah, blah, blah. It turns into an $85,000 vehicle. And yet today, and I get all that, you're not going to recoup your sales tax. You're not going to recoup the dealer charging their $9.95 processing fee. I get all that. But at the end of the day, that vehicle, for the most part, is worth conservative, possibly, I would say it's the car. I would say right now, the car's probably worth trade value, 48. That'd be my guess. That'd be a guess. So, and I'm not here to cry the blues. I'm just saying, making a mistake. For me, a year ago, when I bought that car, I truly believed that car would hold its value within reason. I didn't think it would be crazy, but I thought, okay, 72, most cars still be a 60-ish, good $60,000 car. Yeah, I figured a car would still be worth 62, 64, not to hear back a while back, 50. And that was now a few months ago. My guess now would be probably 48. And the reason I bring this up is yesterday, if you watched my video of me test driving the Toyota 4Runner in that new Toyota Crown, which I thought was pretty cool. A sales guy called me when I was coming back in yesterday. Right when I was coming back in, it was like 3 o'clock, and he called me and he's like, hey, you know what? I'll go by and check out the unique 4Runner. If you haven't seen that video, go to the 40th anniversary edition Toyota 4Runner. And, oh my gosh, hello. If you look at the stripe on that 40th edition anniversary, there's no theme to that stripe. You have a white 4Runner with brass monkey wheels, and they put this borderline rainbow. What is that implying? Sincerely, if you bought that vehicle and you drove around that vehicle, what do you think the average person would think of who you are? So to me, Toyota, total fail. That thing's a fail. Total fail. Total. Who back in Japan thought that was the thing to bring here to this country? I have no idea. Wow. Yes. Am I buying that thing? There's no way I'm buying that vehicle. No way. It's a borderline a statement. So then the Toyota Crown, turbo, I guess twin turbo hybrid, that's pretty cool. Pretty nice car. But, but here's the thing I'm bringing up the EV for. Is because I told the guys, if I could part with my Mach-E GT for that Toyota Crown, would I consider that? If the numbers all made sense and they gave me great money for my Mach-E, yeah, I would definitely consider that. Because I'd lower down my debt, but I already know that ain't going to happen. And so I even kind of brought my Mach-E. And you know what those guys said? Said, oh my gosh. Said, we had 3 Mach-E's here. We couldn't get rid of them. How about lying to you? They're like, we had 3 Mustang Mach-E's. We took losses on them. We couldn't. They sat here forever. We couldn't get rid of them. But we're like, we don't want your car. And then there's a Hyundai with the Iconic 5 or whatever, Ionic 5. That's sitting out there. So I was talking to the manager and the people there, and they're like, nobody has interest in these electric vehicles. No, but here's the thing. In the news out here is that the global demand for electric vehicles is going to rise by 35%. Global, not domestic. So you have to say to yourself, is the domestic brand making a huge mistake following Europe and China's business model? Because it's over in China and Europe, it's a whole different world. It's a whole different ball game. A whole different policies and governing bodies and blah, blah, blah. And so, yeah, the trend in Europe and China, the EV is definitely moving quicker than here domestically. But if you're a manufacturer trying to sell product here domestically and the resistance is there, how are you going to make any money? And so to me, are we getting ready to witness a huge mistake by the likes of Ford, by the likes of Dodge, who's totally has abandoned ICE for 2024 on the muscle side? General Motors. I mean, are we going to see as time plays out that it's a huge mistake that they're too early? They're 5 to 10 years too early on trying to bring these products to market where people just don't want them. And meanwhile, the OPEC nations trying to jack the oil at $100 ain't working. I said a long time ago, you're going to see $60 barrel oil. It's all said and done. Diesel prices here's you don't anymore. You borderline make a mistake to read the news because the news is all over the place. You have an agenda journalist preaching this, then another agenda journalist is preaching that, and trying to put the two together. So here's the thing, right now, and I've heard this from truckers. The trucking industry has slowed down. One big Top Gun guy in the trucking industry claims right now, once a week, operators of 200 to 300 fleet trucks are filing bankruptcy. I haven't heard this. Anybody heard this? There's an article about a local woman that's in her 50s, has been a trucker her whole life, that's sucking wind, that she can't find enough work. And the article is about how the diesel fuel prices have gone down. And I'm looking around thinking, so this article claims that diesel prices are now half the price of what they were last year. I don't know about you, but in this area, diesel was $5.99, $5.39, $5.59. I haven't seen the $2.99 diesel fuel. I'm seeing $3.99, $3.59, but I'm not seeing the $2 range. So I don't know where that language is coming from. But the word on the street is these trucking companies, they're down big time. And this is from J.B. Hunt. This is from the big guys, big trucking guys. The CEOs are saying, yeah, we are definitely in a trucking recession. But yet you'll have another journalist talk about, oh, that's just malarkey. Yeah. Really? It's malarkey? So you have the owner you have the key guy of J.B. Hunt point blank saying that their trucking division, if that's all they do every day, has declined and they're not as busy as they used to be. And you're hearing about major small business trucking companies going broke. I mean, but you don't hear this. You read about it, but then once again, so wow. So, and that's the thing. Everybody got into the pandemic trucking industry, which it was huge. Once the pandemic started kind of, things started going back to normal, all you heard was you couldn't find enough truckers. All you heard of backlogged for deliveries because they're overwhelmed with deliveries. Yeah, it's the opposite. I mean, but who hasn't been around long enough where it's one extreme to the other? I mean, it's just, to me, it's like Mother Nature. It can be the most beautiful day, like when I've been out on the boat. And even a few years ago, we were out on the boat, beautiful day. By the end of the day, we were in this horrendous storm that was radical. I mean, bad. My wife still is mad at me from that day of not going back in earlier. So, to me, the economy is no different than Mother Nature. You and I are no different than Mother Nature. One extreme to the other extreme. I mean, that's just who we are. In your life, your finances, your relationships. So to me, it really is just so intriguing to see people think that the pandemic business model of so many businesses making so much money hand over fist from the pandemic-related way of selling things is going to continue forever. It's like you're making a huge mistake of building a business model based off the pandemic model. You're going to fail. Well, guess what? So to me, right, how long, it's like last year, when I saw $120 barrel oil, I was like, yeah, it'll be 60. It'll take about a year. It'll be 60. That's where it's going. To 74, the OPEC nations. They all got together. Whatever happened to the sanctions on Russia? That wasn't supposed to be able to sell any oil. They're going to be capped at 60. Oh, wow. The market's actually at 60. Wow. I guess a lot of people will be buying Russia oil. I mean, wow. The mistakes of our legislatures, mistakes of the people in power of companies and businesses. I mean, you have to just say, yeah, it's just life. We all make mistakes, right? But who wants to acknowledge that they made a mistake? Yeah, that's the challenge. And so for the EV industry, since I'm got two EV vehicles, yeah, in so many ways, what a huge mistake of buying these vehicles that, for the most part, stuck with without writing a huge check to get rid of them, which I'm not going to do. But at the same time, there's no doubt in my mind that if there ever was something radical to happen that disrupted the supply of energy, that all of a sudden the people sitting in line all day long to get fuel for their car, guess what they're going to want? They're going to want an electric vehicle in a heartbeat. Guess what's going to happen in the electric vehicle market? It's going to spike through the roof. Yeah, now I don't by any means hope that plays out, but if it did, there's no doubt in my mind. All it takes is one person to sit in line all day to get some fuel and go nuts and go, I'm done. I'm done. I don't care how much I have to pay for an electric vehicle. I'll buy it. And that's where it all go. I mean, it could instantly change. So part of me is like, yeah, where we are in today's world of, just what are we focused on? I mean, there's the mistakes that are going on more than ever in our society is what are we focused on? And it seems to be more than ever, it's all about the green agenda. And what about, there's so many other variables, so many other things going on around us, but that just isn't really the talk on a consistent basis. It's the ESG, economic, social, and governance. So as far as mistakes go, I'm sure everybody here that's watched my channel has bought a car, and after you own it for a while, you've realized that was a huge mistake. I mean, I can guarantee you that for me, I've been saying this for a long time, is the people who buy these Ram Terex trucks, I see a lot of them come back in the used car lot because, I get it. You had your fun with it, but you realize after going to the gas station and spending $100 every other day to put gas in it, you come to realize this was a mistake and you move on with it. And the same thing goes with the toys and cars and expensive things. You buy them, and I'm no different. And over time, after paying all the debt and the money, and you don't use it that much, you come to realize that was a mistake. I need to get rid of it. Who wasn't related with that? I tell you, the morning turns in. My daughter, she's so funny. She critiques my comments. So she's saying I made a mistake right now because some people make rude comments, but that's okay. And sincerely, as a YouTuber, are you kidding me? Being exposed and so many different people watch your channel and some people make these really rude comments, that's fine. It's fine. They're just expressing their views. Okay. That's fine. Sincerely. You don't agree with my views? That's all right. We don't have to hate each other. And that's where it gets radical in life is all of a sudden you start hating on each other because we can't agree on something that's just something really stupid at the end of the day. Like people make rude comments about my chat, like Hellcats being pieces of junk. Okay. All right. You don't like Dodge. That's fine. I'm glad you don't like Dodge. I take the position in life where good. I don't want you to like everything I want. Everybody has what you have. Whip-de-doo-dah. We all want to be different. That's what we want to be. We want to be different. We want to hear different views and different ideas. Whatever. That's fine. Just don't get violent. Yeah, violence in the streets. Yeah, that's a huge mistake. Are you seeing the amount of people that are, there's a lot of people out there doing violent things. And with all today's technology, you can get tracked down. Things can play out where you think you're going to do something and nothing's going to happen. And yeah, right. Good luck on that one. Yeah, so now I was reading an article about this company, Geely, Geely. It's a company out of China that actually is part of Volvo. They're part of Volvo. And Volvo, so it's Geely and it's Polestar, I guess. They even have Monies and Lotus. Stop it. But anyways, it's a company out of China that's going into the European market to directly compete against Tesla. And it talks about them having this like Zeekr, Zekr 001 really nice crossover EV vehicle that would kind of be like the Model Y or maybe even my Mustang Mach-E to a degree. And apparently it has like a 600-mile range on a 141 kilowatt battery on China's calibrations of like CTLC or CLTC. So apparently the Chinese have developed a different way of calibrating the battery range on how you test the vehicle compared to other ways of testing, like an NEDC or any. I'm not really sure all abbreviations, but anyway, so this company Geely, they're really growing by leaps and bounds, and they're directly going after Tesla. And so I was thinking to myself this morning, here's Elon discounting the heck out of his vehicles, which I'm sure you have to kind of step back and say, is that a mistake? But at the same time, I look at Elon, I give him credit. He's set up shop in China because he definitely sees that's the more active market. This market here in our country, I just talked about it. You have to say to yourself too, why is Elon discounting his vehicles so much? You have to look at yourself in the mirror and you have to say it's got to be because he's not selling as many as he wants to sell. I mean, come on, it's all about supply and demand. So for Elon, he talks about putting this product in the marketplace for the subscription-based revenues, but at the same time, you have to say to yourself, but that's obvious if you're having to discount your cars, people aren't buying them. But then Elon, which I don't disagree, makes a good point. The interest rates have hurt people's buying power. But at the same time, Elon has $500 billion in money. I mean, these automotive companies get creative on selling cars all the time, and they do their own in-house financing. So if Elon was really maybe creative, but I give him credit for wants to carry the debt of other people, but you'd have a subsidiary of your Tesla's fortunes, and you create your own in-house financing to get these deals done and keep the prices on the cars. I mean, wonder why he hasn't done that, if you think it through. Why hasn't he gotten creative on creating the 0% financing or the low interest rate financing or the lease where he can overcome what he claims is the interest being charged on cars to buy cars? So it'll be very interesting to see. So many people look at Elon. I mean, I'll be the first to raise my hand that think the guy made a mistake. So many people thought he made a mistake years ago and he wouldn't survive it. But you have to step back and look at the value of that company and what he's accomplished. I mean, it is beyond believable for a guy that started an electric vehicle company that's never had any major footprint in the real dynamics of the automotive industry of sales, especially in this country. Anybody here, can anybody admit the mistakes they've made in their cars? And anyone admit, here's, I will actually have to say, here is probably one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made, per se, of buying a car and destroying a car just for a motor and transmission. And oh my gosh, anybody listen to this story, I mean, I can hear people's eyes just light up like, are you kidding me? Yeah, this is no lie. So back in 1983, I owned a Cuda, Plymouth. It's pretty incredible how Plymouth, believe it or not, was the lower tier of Dodge of more of the bang for the buck muscle car over Dodge. I don't know if people know that or not, but Plymouth really ratcheted up just the muscle power over all the, amenities like Dodge had in their cars. So Plymouth was really known more for just a badass muscle car. And I just love the Cuda. I was never a Challenger fan. I like the Cuda lines all day long. And I like the Charger lines pre-mid-70s, like late 60s, early 70s. So, anyways, for the mistakes, I bought, I don't know, it was a 72 or a 73. I just can't remember, but I bought a blue Challenger from this lady, and it was a TorqueFlite 727 transmission with a 340 motor in it. And my friend and I And so I bought it. I got it for like maybe $600-700. Yeah, and the car was in good shape. I mean, the body was fine. I mean, there's nothing really wrong with the car. And I ended up ripping out the motor and transmission, and then my friend and I, we do take the sledgehammer to it. As I even say this, am I sick to my stomach? I'm even saying this. My friend and I take a good Dodge Challenger car that has perfectly good fenders, hood, truck. I mean, everything's fine. It's fine. And after I take the wheels and tires and transmission and the motor out, we have the old party on it with, busting out the windshield, just the party with a sledgehammer on it. This day, my dad will tell you. And this is when I was living with my dad and mom, in their house. And then I moved out, and that car now sat in my dad's driveway. Where my dad eventually had to call a rollback company, and I think he had to pay the guys to take the car away. Wow. You talk about a mistake? Oh my gosh, be unbelievable. Anybody here knows, if I had just left that car alone and I wouldn't have done anything to it, years down the road, I could have got conservative, just even back probably in the 90s, debatable, 20 grand. And you go back and go even more modern times, could I have gotten 30 or 40 grand for it? I don't know, but oh my gosh. Yeah, so for me, huge mistake. Yeah, when you're a kid, and oh my gosh, I would bore the rest of the video of just the things that I did in the cars that I own, and got myself into trouble of sinking my truck. Yeah, sunk one truck, another truck I borderline sunk. I mean, I used to go four-wheel in the backwoods and, have all the fun, doing stupid things. Yeah, who knows those stories? I told you the Volkswagen GTI story where I pretty much about totaled that. One of the first GTIs in 1984 model, it came to this country. And what do? I destroy the damn thing. I crash it and back then, it was like a $8,900 car, and there's $6,000 of damage, and the damn insurance company wouldn't total the damn thing. Does that make any sense? I'm not embellishing how much that car. I mean, it was like $4,800 worth of repair bills. That a good friend of mine that I worked at the parts store at, his dad rebuilt it for me, but the car was never the same. The front fenders, the paint. Everybody knows that. Yeah. So, anyways, the mistake. Doesn't it seem like more than ever we're living in times that all we talk about is tomorrow that seem to be creating the mistakes for today? I mean, doesn't it just seem like more than ever all the conversation is always about tomorrow, but it's putting in place all the mistakes that will play out. And I'm sure many people here on my channel probably would have said, "Hey, man, if you buy an electric vehicle, you're going to get killed on a thing." And I understand that. I don't disagree. I'm sure many people are like, "You're foolish. You're an idiot to buy an electric vehicle." And I've heard that before. I'm not a fool to that. And so many people are like, "Yeah, see, there you go. You create your own mistake." Yeah, I don't disagree. But at the same time, as I just said, there's one thing for sure. If the fuel prices ever went through the roof again, the electric vehicles are once again going to be sought after, because so many people are going to be brainwashed that that's going to, take care of them and get away from expensive fuel prices. And if we ever went to a gas shortage, wow, yikes. But we are so frail in that. People just don't know the infrastructure we have in this country, how the fuel system works, and it is so exposed. Does anybody remember a cyber attack on the pipelines here a few years ago, where the pipelines got all screwed up and shut down and created just a little bit of a shortage here up in the Mid-Atlantic Northeast area? Most people don't remember that, but it's just those type of little things that can happen. And, somebody makes a mistake. So for us as individuals, are we witnessing more than ever in our governing bodies and the leaders of our country that are seen to be pushing future mistakes? It's uh, it's in the media machine for sure. Does anybody anymore really just so turned off by the media machine? I mean, more than ever, because you just feel like it's just so twisted. I mean, who really can sit and watch news anymore? I don't. I really don't. I mean, I don't have time. I don't want to have time. Who wants to be sitting in their house? And I think I see say this years ago. As you progress in life, you come to understand and respect so much of your capabilities, but so many just let their capabilities, they don't use them. And I just see myself, you know how many older people right now or people that have been injured? You can talk about veterans. You can just talk about service people that are looking out a window today that can't do anything. They don't have the physical capability to get outside and do anything. And so they're in a position where they're kind of forced to sit down and just watch the news or whatever entertains them. And I just think to myself, but there's so many people today who drive around anymore in neighborhoods and all these, there's nobody out. It is so weird. And where we are in today's society, there's so many people that hibernate in their house all day long. And the remote working, the computers, or people can race cars and interact. So everything is so, everything's so sitting behind a computer or hiding in your house to live your life. And yet, for me, I'm embellishing here. I'm just sharing with you. But every day of my life, I am out in the roads. I am all over the place. I see places. I go places. I do things. And pretty much every day, I drive at least 100 miles. That's a very low day. It's usually 150 mile, 200 mile days. And that was something I learned very young. Is I wanted to be out and live life. I wanted to live life. I wanted to be out and about. I did not want to be sitting in a freaking basement to work my life. And that's why I decided to get out very young in my career and be a salesperson and start being in the streets so I could live life and be out in the world. But yet, more than ever, people live their world behind a computer screen, and which I think is a huge mistake. All right, everybody. Hey, that's it. I'm going to wrap it up at that. The mistakes that what's your mistake? What's the biggest mistake you've made? I mean, we could go, everybody here can share their stories. But the biggest challenge in life is when you make mistakes, can you overcome the mistakes and rise above your mistakes? See, that's the challenge. And for me, I can honestly tell you that yes, I have. I've made some incredible mistakes in my life, but I've never given up. And I'm sure just like anybody else here, I'm not embellishing, making me be Mr. Special over you. That's not the conversation. The conversation is, I can guarantee you, the majority of people that watch this video can say, yeah, I've made some pretty incredible mistakes. But you know what? I pulled my britches up and I kept going. And that's why I am who I am, which that's fantastic. That's what it's all about. But yet, we unfortunately see so many people that make mistakes that get won't pull up their britches, and then they're borderline patted on the back. Yeah. Everybody can kind of relate to that story. You're right. All right, everybody. Hey, thanks for watching. What are you doing today? Yeah, we're not buying any Toyota 4Runner. Ain't buying a Toyota Crown. That ain't happening. Ain't buying another electric vehicle. Yeah, if I could figure out how to finagle my way out of that Mach-E into something else, but at the same time, I don't know. At the same time, it's always good to have a backup vehicle. And having electric vehicles, believe it or not, if anything were kind of crazy, as long as the power stays on. All right, everybody. Hey, thanks for watching. Stay safe. God bless, and stay tuned. Have a great day.